this is Jeannie and Carrie from Trendy Tree, and today we're going to make a sunflower wreath. We're going to go ahead and just cut some mesh and get that part done. We're using a new fabric mesh. It's a combination product that has polypropylene, polyester, and
jute.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just polyester, but it gives it a real nice texture.
Polyester, polypropylene.
Okay, all right. But it gives it a nice texture, and this is a new color for this year called Sunflower. So we're going to make a sunflower wreath. We're going to use, all these products come from Trendy Tree. And right now what we're doing is cutting the mesh into 10-inch lengths. The mesh comes 10 inch in width, and there's 10 yards on a roll, and she's going to go ahead and cut up the whole roll because we're going to need it all. She's using a Fiskars stick cutter, and you can get those on Amazon. We'll give you that affiliate link if you need one, and also the self-healing cutting mat that has measurements. We're going to start out with using burlap wreaths. We're going to start with a 24-inch burlap wreath. Now we're going to put these products in a kit for you, and based on the products that we have in stock, from time to time we might have to change up the color of the wreath. It won't show, so your kit, when you get ready to order one, might have a burlap wreath, or it might have an evergreen or emerald green or something like that. But we'll show you at the end that, you know, the color of the wreath is not going to really matter. We're going to also use an emerald green wide foil mesh. It's also a 10-inch product, and we're going to cut 10-inch lengths of it, just the same as the yellow.
That's all it was that?
Okay, you should be able to get about 36 cuts, but if it doesn't come out 36, it won't show. We're just going to push that aside, and she's going to go ahead and cut the emerald mesh, the wide foil emerald, 10 inches.
The whole roll.
The whole roll. We're going to use the emerald foil for our leaves, petals, and she's going to go ahead and cut up the whole 10-yard roll of it. Oops. And then we're going to use these little black pencil ball ties for the center. They're just a little piece of tinsel with a styrofoam ball on each end. And again, today we're going to use a black ball, but when we put the kits together, the kits might have a copper, or they might have even a green ball. The other size wreath that we use is a 10-inch pencil wreath. Now I did want to tell you that on our 24-inch wreath, they measure 15 inches across the widest frame. But with the addition of mesh, ribbons, and so forth, you're going to wind up with a wreath that's going to finish, 24 inches or wider. The 10-inch the 10-inch wreath is just 10 inches.
Watch your digits.
We're going to stack these wreaths, and we'll show you how to do that. But we're going to start, when we start making our wreath, we're going to make our petals first, the leaves for the petals. So there's a little cut. But it just helps if you go ahead and get all your mesh cut. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is make our petal, and to do that, she's going to, let me show you.
Show me, because
Well, you just let the mesh fall and just curl up naturally. And you know, when we make the ruffle technique, we tend to roll it out and work on the top side. But for the petals, we don't. We let it just lay down like that, and then open it up, pull a corner to the center, another corner to the center, let them overlap a little bit, and then pinch that together, and then flip it over. That way you've got your cut edges on the underneath side, and you just pinch it like a little bow tie. And then we're going to start on the outer part of our wreath, and I'm going to put 2 of these petals in each twist.
Like that?
Yes, turn it down. And then I'm just going to stack them together, and then I'm going to open a twist and put the petals down, And I'm going to close that twist with like 3 or 4 turns because I'm not putting anything else in it. And then I want to push, I'm going to kind of make a V and push that twist to the outside. And it, you know, it won't stay real well. And I'm going to take my ends of my tie and just tuck it to the inside of my wreath. Don't fold it over too much. There you go.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then I'm just going to put 2 petals in each twist, and we're going to work all the way around this outer ring. And each time I secure the twist, I'm going to push those petals to the outside, and they'll, you know, the polypropylene, you know, you can't shape poly mesh too much, but we want it to go out that way. And as we get more added in, it will help. And we're just going to work all the way around the wreath. Okay, now we've worked all the way around the outer ring with 2 petals in each twist. And each time I just turned my edges of my twist to the inside of the wreath. And now we're going to move to the inner ring. We're going to continue doing the same thing. We have 2 petals, a cluster of 2 petals. Just secure it in a twist. Go ahead and secure it 3 or 4 turns because you're not going to use that twist for anything else. And push those twists toward the outside. Tuck the ends of your twist to the inside. So you can see we're using the burlap. Well, when we get done, you'll be able to see that whether you use a burlap wreath or a green wreath, it's really not going to show.
Crappy one.
Well, you will have some raveling. That sometimes you have to stop and clip a string. That was the very end of the roll. It kind of looks
Crappy.
Don't use it if we don't have to. We'd be better off to have just a short piece. Typically, you should get 36 cuts from a roll of mesh, but you may not. You may wind up with 37. You might wind up with 35 or whatever. And if you just have one area where you only have 1 petal, it promise you it will not show. And you'll have raveling. No matter what kind of mesh product you use, you will have some raveling, so just know that you're going to have to clip some strings at the end, and every now and then you may have to clip a string. It may get tangled up, and you may have to clip a string. There's one. This is a good wreath for beginners to make, though, because you cut all your pieces the same. You can, it just will come out nice and even, usually, each time.
Most of the time, but I
just knocked that yellow off from the floor. And you can make the leaves out of different kinds of green mesh too. It doesn't have to be this wide foil. You could use plain poly mesh, just metallic mesh.
Was that the last twist?
I need 1 more.
I'm gonna have to use the crappy one.
Okay, well that's all right. I'll put it on the bottom.
Know which side's up.
That's okay. That one's kind of messy, so we'll just put it on the bottom, and you'll never know it.
That was exactly.
Right.
There's probably one.
There may be one on the
Gets
floor
loose.
somewhere. But just push those petals to the outside and turn your twist to the inside. So that's your wreath after you get both of the rings done with 2 layers of petals in each one. Now the next thing we're going to do is attach the 10-inch wreath, and we're going to put it right in the center of our 12-inch wreath, and we're going to attach it with 4 zip ties.
Here's one.
Okay. And I need the cutters, yeah. So just going to take 4 zip ties, and I'm just going to attach, get my twist out of the way. I'm going to attach the metal ring, the outer part of the 10-inch wreath, to the inner part of the 24-inch wreath. And I'm going to do that in 4 places. So I'm going to insert 4 zip ties to start with, but I'm not going to pull them tight. I'm just going to get 4 started so that when I tighten them, I can keep my 10-inch wreath centered and not pull it off to one side or something.
I had to. Oh, here's another.
Okay. So just find 4 places to attach your zip ties. And then when we get them all started, okay, then I'm just going to kind of tighten one up a little bit, tighten it a little bit, just kind of even, kind of so that your wreath stays in the center till it's all nice and snug. Okay, and then cut off the ends of those zip ties.
Is mine tight enough now?
Mm-hmm. Cut off the ends of those zip ties with
Wire cutters?
wire cutters. Thank you. Had a little lapse there. Don't use your scissors.
No.
Okay, and then the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to apply the yellow mesh. You may want to be gathering that up. The yellow mesh in the same manner. Same kind of petals. But what we're going to need for this part of the wreath, there was our other good piece of emerald foil too. Thanks, Carrie. What we're going to need to fill in the center of this, the reason we use a 10-inch wreath on top of the 24 is you get a smaller center to have to fill in. And even after we put our petals on, we're still going to have a center that we're going to have to add more petals to. So what I'm going to do is create a crossbar across the center. I'm just going to use a couple of chenille stems, and I'm just going to go right across the center. If it works out to where you can attach it where there is a straight post, that is a little bit more secure because you can wrap that end around this post and your chenille stem won't slide around. So just attach it on one side, pull it over to the other side and secure it. Make it kind of taut. Just wrap that in around the metal frame, like that. And then take another chenille stem and go crossways, opposite of that. And that will work out to put it on the post. So, just going to attach that and wrap it around. I'm going to go ahead and take my chenille stem and kind of wrap it around my first chenille stem to kind of keep those together. Come over to this other side. Attach that. And just wrap that in to get it out of the way around the wire frame. So you've made a crossbar to have something to attach some extra petals to. So for now, what we're going to do
Same
is
kind of petals? Same thing?
same kind of petals. We're going to start on the outer ring of the 10-inch burlap wreath, and we're going to put 2 petals made out of the yellow mesh, just like we did the fabric mesh. Just let it naturally roll up and pull 2 corners to the inside. And you can see, I'll let you watch Carrie do that. Kind of overlap the corners a little bit. You don't have to overlap them much. Pinch them together, and then open up a twist. Put both petals down. You can secure that twist 3 or 4 turns because we're not going to use it for anything else. Push that mesh to the outside and take your twist and tuck it to the inside to get it out of the way. We're going to work all the way around the outer ring of the burlap 10-inch wreath.
Came back and caught me in the face.
You can make them faster than I can secure them. Okay.
Just a single.
Tonight's homecoming, isn't it?
We dressed the light.
Oh my gosh. Well, you should have called me before I left home and said you were wearing a denim shirt. I do have on black. Twinking. Twinking.
That's just single.
You will have some raveling, as with any mesh product. You may have to stop and clip some strings along the way. It is better to clip them instead of pulling, but you will have some raveling. It seems like I've missed one there, but maybe not. We'll have a few extra petals left over with the yellow. Of course, we're going to have to fill in the center some, but I think we still have a couple more left even after that. Here, I think I've got one of those upside down. But you can always, I'm going to show you how to make a little petal pick to fill in any extra gaps.
I need some more.
Sorry. I love this mesh. It's such a pretty color. This is perfect. This is a good wreath to go from September through November. Okay. So now we put 2 petals in each twist along the outer ring of the 10-inch wreath. So now we're going to move to the twist on the inner ring. We're going to do the same thing, 2 petals in each twist. Push those petals toward the outside once you get them secured, and take your twist and just push it to the inside of the wreath, out of the way. Be sure to kind of turn your petal over so you've got your cut edges on the underneath side. I think that may help the raveling. I think it does. I don't have any scientific proof.
Okay, Sheldon.
Uh-oh, twist came off.
Oh! Call them. Send it back.
Wreath back.
Faulty.
Okay, that happens, you know. That's I'm not gonna say that word, but you know that happens. So all you have to do is just take your twist, and I'm just gonna twist it back around the work wreath frame, twist it next to the twist that was beside it, and just keep on trucking.
There's a double. Damaged.
Sometimes you can pull on these so hard you can pull them off. Some of them probably, they're just kind of sort of like stapled onto the ring, and I guess sometimes they just come loose. That's okay.
Is that
All right, this should be the last one for this. All right, so now then we're finishing up. This is our last cluster on the inner ring. And you can see I've got, I've still got a good bit of space to fill in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pick of a petal, 2 petals, and I'm going to attach one of these petal picks on each portion of this chenille stem. So to do that, hand me those wire cutters, please. I'm going to cut my chenille stems in half. So here's my cluster of 2 petals. I'm going to take my chenille stem and just go over the top of that petal and come down behind it. Give it a twist. Just twist it a couple of times, and so now you have a petal cluster on a pick. You can see that okay? Then you just spread that chenille stem out. Carrie had to leave. And then take the pick and just place it over the chenille stem. You don't want to put your pick and have to twist it from the top side. So you want to put your chenille stem over your little crossbar pick, over your crossbar chenille stem, and reach under from the back side and secure it. Twist it. Of course, you can always clean up the back of this wreath later. We're not worried about it right now. But do the same thing. Pinch your petals and kind of push them to the outside. Now we're going to put a cluster on each one of these crossbars. So you can just pinch that. You can hold one in your hand if you're working by yourself. Get your other one made. Stack them together. Take the chenille stem, just go across the top. Pull it from the back. Twist it, and you can twist that tighter if you twist by the petals instead of trying to twist the chenille stem. And you'll have some raveling, like I say. You'll have to clip some along the way. Take the chenille stem, take your pick now, and just slide it down over your little crossbar. Attach it from the back side. Push your petals to the outside. Make 2 petals, chenille stem on top, secure it from the bottom. Okay. And now I'm going to just go to my next crossbar, secure that from the underneath side. Push the petals to the outside. Make one more. Put this over my last crossbar and secure it from the back. Okay. Push those petals to the outside. And you can see, okay, we've reduced the size of the hole, but we do still have, you know, a hole there. And that's sort of what it looks like from the back. And see, I told you, the burlap wreath doesn't really show, so, you know, you can use burlap or, you know, some other color. And when we put these kits together, you know, we'll try to keep all the products consistent, but sometimes, you know, we may run out of burlap wreaths, we may have to use an evergreen wreath or something like that. So, but we can talk about that later. So, now we have to fill in the center of our wreath. And what we're going to use today is a pencil ball tie. This is just a little piece of tinsel, and it has a black styrofoam ball on each end. And I'm going to start out with 3. Now, we're going to put black in the center of this wreath, but we also have some copper balls and maybe some lime green. So at some point, we may have to make a wreath and put lime green balls in the center or the copper. But the way to attach the pencil ball ties is to take the ball tie, go up from the underneath side, and we're going to bring one of the balls through one of those quadrants that you made with your crossbar and pull the other one up from the other side. So there they are. They're just kind of loose right now. And you can twist those, kind of twist them together just enough to hold them. Then take another set, and I'm going to go up through the other quadrant, pull that up to the center, and kind of twist them. You don't try not to twist the balls too much by holding onto the balls, because you can pull them off of that tie. So kind of twist them from the stem if you can. I'm going to put one more set in. Just going to put it in on one side and put the other ball up through the other side. And now I have all these balls here, and they're just kind of loosely in there. So I'm just going to kind of gently start twisting those around each other just to make them a little more snug. Just to kind of snug that up a little bit. Like I say, you don't want to twist them too much because you don't want to You don't want to pull them off, but that's the way it will look. That's with 3 sets of the ball ties. Now, I see a little hole right here where I would like to put another cluster of petals, and you can do that. We have, here's 2 pieces of mesh for sure, so I'm going to make another. I think I'm just going to do a single because I might have another place that I want to fill in. There's 3 pieces of mesh I have left over. Hang on. There's 4 pieces of mesh that I have left over. So since I have a couple of places that I may need to fill in, I'm going to make an extra tie, extra petal. This time I'm just going to use a single till I see where else I might need to fill in. And I'm just going to make a single petal. And I'm just going to go down where I see a good place right there to put a petal. So I'm just going to work my fingers down through there. And I'm going to slide my chenille stem right over the work wreath frame where I can get it to where I can reach it from the back side and just twist that chenille stem. That's just going to make for a little more fullness. And I'm just going to, I see another place that I could add one there. Might as well go ahead and use up my mesh. Just going to work my fingers in there. Get my chenille stem over the work wreath frame. And then find it from the back and twist it. And that looks like a good place to put one right along in there. You'll just have to kind of, you can kind of push those petals around, and if you see a place that looks like it needs a flower, you can add, it needs a petal, you can add one. These mesh pieces won't be good for anything else, just having this view anyway. Slide that chenille stem over the metal work wreath frame. Okay. And if you have any areas that's showing, you can always just kind of move your petals around a little bit. Now I have 3 sets of the ball ties in there right now, but I want to add a little more for a little extra fullness. So I'm going to add, we'll just kind of add one more in at a time and see how many we need to add. Just going to kind of put it in there and just kind of work that ball around. And I think I might even add one more. So that would be like 5 of the pencil ball ties. And you just kind of have to, this is really kind of an experiment. You just have to kind of twist those balls around till you kind of get them shaped in the center like you would like to have them. So you just kind of work with the balls until you kind of get them shaped, like you want them. And you just can always look at it. If you see any holes, you can adjust your petals. If you can see a gap, if you're looking at it up close, you'll be able to see, through the pencil balls there. But if it's something that, you think is going to show, you can always take a little bit of floor wire and pull your petals over and cover up an area. Or if you have extra mesh, we wound up with still just a little piece, you could always tuck in another little piece here and there. We just usually put 1 roll of mesh in the wreath kits, 1 of the yellow and 1 of the green. You will have to clip some strings. All mesh ravels. Now, lots of people ask, is there anything that you can spray on your wreath? We have experimented spraying paper mesh with Elmer's Craft Bond spray adhesive, and that has helped. But I would advise anyone, if you were going to spray something on your wreath, don't just spray your wreath. Take a sample of your product that you're working with and do a test on that, because everybody's climate is different, and what might work for us in Mississippi might not work for somebody in New York. So just, you know, do that at your own risk. I've heard that, you know, some people spray them with clear acrylic and so forth, but if you decide to spray, what I had to do when I sprayed the paper petals was just kind of take each petal and kind of spray toward that raw edge and then lay it back down, and then you would have to kind of, when you sprayed 2 or 3 petals, you would have to kind of go back and just kind of gently lift and separate them, or they'll stick down and you'll have a matted mess. And of course, spraying it is very sticky, and you'll generate some strings because your fingers will get sticky and you're going to pull some strings out even while you're just repositioning and so forth. So I would just experiment with that before I put anything on my wreath. You can make a hanger for the back of your wreath with chenille stem or zip ties. The finished wreath measures about 28 inches in diameter. And this is a great fall wreath. It's an easy wreath. It's a fairly inexpensive wreath to make. But that's it. All the products came from Trendy Tree, and we will have a supply kit. The supply kits may vary from time to time with what's on the inside, but we'll let you know that when we have to change it up. But we hope that you'll share our video with your friends, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And follow us on Facebook. We're doing some live videos on Facebook. Okay? Check the back of your wreath. Of course, it looks kind of messy from the back because we've got all those twists poked to the inside. You can make that a little bit neater if you want to by, you know, working those ends around the frame. I'm not going to do that today. It won't show when I put it on my door, so I'm not going to worry about that. But always check it to make sure you don't have any sharp edges sticking out that might scratch your door or your wall. Okay? Thanks for dropping in. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.